Good morning, and thank you for joining me today. My name is Hamza Tariq, and I am a student of 430, and I'm studying in Alpha Crescent University College, and with my roll number is 250010079. And today, our presentation is titled Ancient Wisdom and Natural Ideals in Early Childhood Education, and basically, it's an introduction to Aristotle and Rousseau. So let's dive into how these two great thinkers had helped shape our modern understanding of early childhood education. So first of all, we have like meeting Aristotle and Rousseau. Let's see like who these are. And so to begin, let's meet these two philosophers whose views we'll explore today, and which are Aristotle and Jean-Jacques Rousseau. So Aristotle, who lived from 384 to 322 BCE, he was a thinker and he emphasized virtue, reason, and even the development of the habits. And he also valued education and nurtured moral character. Whereas Rousseau, who lived from 1712 to 1778, promoted natural development. He believed in honoring a child interest by allowing freedom and play. And like their opposing views from compelling dialogue that remains relevant today, and particularly when we debate structure versus freedom in early childhood education. And in the coming slides, we'll explore their views more closely and consider their modern implications and how they apply in the world. Yep. So first, we'll talk about Aristotle's view for a child as a developing moral agent. He believed that children aren't born good or evil. Instead, they possess the potential to become virtuous through learning and practice. So it is actually the nature of the child that he or she sees like what is happening to her or him, and then he believes to create his own character. And now the second one is like learning by habits. So like for example, there's a repetition of good actions like sharing helps from positive it habits over time. But Aristotle also emphasized this process requires like adult supervision, and children need proper guidance and to practice the right behavior and until what like we can say that from becoming from mature to like from becoming from children to mature. So for example, a child who is learning to share must be encouraged. For example, when a child is like sharing something, we should appreciate him and we should encourage him to do this, so it becomes his habit and he can process it over time and time and time. And so it's like we can say that we are like feeding good habits into the child. And then according to the Aristotle, like parents uh, play a so important role in early childhood education, and especially in the child development. So exactly, the parents are the first teachers. They shape a child early habits, and by modeling virtue and creating daily routines, and the long like even the before like the formal schooling begins, so that like teach him like then the children look at them and then like grow and yeah, inherit their good habits or bad habits whatever they are doing. And and then there are like the stages of development. And for Aristotle, it follows a clear path, like starting with the physical health and then moving to the emotional habits and finally cultivating the intellectual abilities. And he also advocated for state support in education, like believing the society should assist in educating children for the common good. So we can say that children develop strength first and then self-control, and then like eventually he start reasoning. And like the habits are formed earlier and then it creates like strong foundations afterwards. And then let's talk about the Aristotle's ideal learning environments, which are like the structure spaces, purposeful play, and values instruction. So he actually believed in ordered routines, which helped like developing discipline and focus. And then he also said that play is essential, but it should be like woven into learning objectives such as serving a purpose and all like building habits and new skills. And he also emphasized values instruction where children learn about fairness, courage, and self-control through guided social interaction. And this also creates a space for the teacher directed learning with clear expectations, supported by the structured play and their collaboration and their purpose, like how they can teach the children in a better way, and like how they can depict the outer world into the children's mind. And then we have like the curriculum and the teachers according to the Aristotle's framework. In Aristotle model, the curriculum actually focuses on whole person development, and which actually starts from the physical activities, and it can also be followed by stories about character and maybe like advancing into some type of intellectual inquiry. So, and then we have like the stories and music, so which is like a good part. And stories and music are especially important for nurturing emotional regulation and also the thinking skills. And he also said that the teacher plays a central role as a guide. They model virtue, they provide clear instructions, and also guide them for their more intellectual and moral growth. And like ultimately, you can say that the teacher helps children develop social and problem-solving skills, and also preparing them to be responsible and thoughtful adults. Moving on to the next slide, and then we have some of the implications and critiques of Aristotle's philosophy. So Aristotle's philosophy has significant implications. He prioritized character development and ensures that the children build good moral habits from a young age. And his system is also like favors structured teacher-led learning, which offers like clear direction and goals. However, some critics might argue that it may limit children's autonomy and creativity. Still, Aristotle ideas are foundational in traditional education models, and they prompt us to think how we can balance adult guidance with childlike exploration and queries, inquiries. Sorry. And now, moving to the second part, which is the Rousseau's view of the child. He believed that the children are naturally good and innocent. Unlike Aristotle, Rousseau emphasized that children grow at their own pace. For Rousseau, the best learning happens through hands-on exploration and like the sensory experience. He also argued that education should protect children's natural goodness from the corrupting influences of society. And and let's talk about the Rose's concept of the parent role. He said that the parents act more as guardians than as instructors. Instead of like strict teaching, they protect children from harmful influences. And he introduced the idea of like the negative education, which means allowing learning to happen by avoiding harm rather than imposing instructions. Like we can see that the parents just like teach the children not to do this, it might harm them, and they try to save. And so this is how the child brain works, and he knows that like if I touch this it might be harmful, so I don't have to touch this, I have to stay away from it. And then he said the parents give children freedom to discover, allowing them to face non-natural consequences instead of punishment. Like, for example, if I'm doing something and my child comes and then I look at him and maybe he's just looking at me like you can say the child is thinking what is he doing, and he tries to touch whatever I'm doing. And then so this is how they discover new things and they learn. And then he also said that the role is largely observational and providing like the gentle guidance based on the child's individual stage of development. And then Rose's concept of child development. So the first one is like the stage-based development. Like each stage needs has unique needs, and it should not be rushed. And early learning, like uh, yeah, and then there's this sensory focus, which means like uh, exposing young children to complex concept too early can actually like interfere with their natural development. And then let's talk about the Rose's view of learning environments, where like the nature is teacher, and children should be free to explore the world around them with minimal adult control. And these environments should be simple but rich in sensory experiences, and it should be designed around like the children interest. And also the adults act as facilitators, supporting rather than directly the child's learning journeys, but somehow they uh, act as a facilitator, like they act more than a facilitator rather than directors. And then let's talk about Ross's view of curriculum learning. So it's actually like the child-centered. It emerges from the child's own interests and experiences, not from preset content. And it also encourages exploration and curiosity, where children take a real life questions like how is it going, how does it work, if I touch if something will happen or not, if I play with it, will it be fun? And then his focus is on the functional knowledge and the development of the senses, which is like very good. And then the formal lessons like reading and arithmetic are delayed until adolescence are to preserve the natural development. Like you have to take the things slowly according to the child's brain. So, and then there's a Rose's concept of the role as a teacher. So the first one is a teacher is the main guide and the protector, and they prepare the environment to protect for the child space and for discovery. Like you know, like child can go and like what of the questions is popping in the child's mind, you can go and discover according to it. And then teachers also monitor development through observations rather than direct teaching. And also the sport natural learning, allowing children to experiment and learn from the consequences, and fostering like autonomy or whatever. So like this is how the children can learn and how a role of a teacher can be played in the child's development. And then there are like the implications of the Rose's view, which are the post child-centered educational models, and then challenges and the criticism, and then potential neglect of the social skills and complex implementations. So Rose actually like supported child-centered education, which influenced today's play-based and natural focus methods. However, like the challenges remain, it's difficult to fully shield children from society's negative influences, and without formal structure, there's concern about children missing out on social and academic development. And his model also requires careful and contextual implementation, making it difficult to apply universally. And then coming to like what are the philosophies that are contrasting in both of them, which is like uh, education is structured. And Aristotle saw that the child has potential that must be cultivated through habit and reasoning. And education should be structured and led by teacher, and it should serve some common good. Whereas Russell viewed that the child is naturally good, and it should deserve freedom and protection. And education should not follow the child interest, and also should follow the child interest and support individual development. So these two views represent different ends of a spectrum, from like structure to freedom. And influences on my teaching role. Yep. In my teaching role, I would draw from both thinkers. From Rousseau, I value play and child initiated experiences, and then respect for the curiosity and agency, and then also the real world exploration. And from Aristotle, I respect like the values like cooperation and routines for emotional security, and then the teacher's role in like the social development. By like combining these, I aim to offer enough structure to guide learning while nurturing individual curiosity and growth. And then why like this both matter to me? They offer core ideas actually. Like the Aristotle teaches us to focus on character and civic duty, and Rousseau reminds me to respect the child's right and inner motivation. And they also pose important questions like, am I truly hearing children? Am I balancing freedom with guidance? And how do I meet individual needs within a group? Like these are the questions that may pop up in my mind. So, and like the timeless insights challenge me to thoughtfully combine structure and freedom in my teaching. So, I would like to leave you with two important questions like how do we balance structured teaching and spontaneous play in early education? And the second one is how do we prepare children for the demands of society without compromising their natural curiosity and joy? Like these are the tensions educators continue to navigate as we reflect on Aristotle ideals and on the Rousseau's cautions. So to conclude, Aristotle emphasized discipline, development, and virtue in social context, whereas the Rousseau championed in freedom, natural development, and protection from societal harm. And their ideas continue to shape how we understand children, adults' roles, and learning environments in early childhood education today. And these are the references. And thank you so much. Bye bye.